Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm back this week from vacation and I wanted to share with you a new sketch. I'm actually on the road right now traveling, so crafting hits the road this week, but I didn't want to miss out on starting off April with a new sketch showing you how to document 6 pictures, and I'm going to show you an interactive way to hide your journaling. So I'm going to drop you down onto my desk and we're going to get crafting. There's my sketch. Here is the card kit that I'm going to be using called So Much to Celebrate. And it has just so many beautiful pieces to it. Not only does it make these beautiful cards, but I'm going to show you how to take these pieces and we're going to convert them into this sketch. And so what I have for you, and it's kind of comical, I'm literally sitting in a Hyatt hotel right now while my husband is on a business trip in Cleveland, and I'm in the hotel and I brought my crafting supplies with me. So we are going to get crafty. But look at these. There's congratulations. There is best wishes. And then look at these gorgeous dies that I'm going to be using for this sketch. And then these are the card bases that I'm going to turn into the corresponding banners that complement these colors. I am not going to be using the envelopes. I'll use these for a different project. And obviously I'm not going to be using best wishes or the congratulations. I might use the congratulations, but probably not. So I'm going to set those off to the side. But these are the pieces that I'm going to be playing with today. And then here are the pictures. And then here's the designer series paper that I'm going to be using to coordinate with this. I absolutely loved this stripe. And then these are the solid cardstocks that I'm going to be using with this. So of course, white willow. And then you guys are going to have to forgive me because I'm not in my craft room right now. I know that's old olive, lemon lime twist, petal peach, peach petal. And then this blue, oh my gosh, I have the ink pad right over here. Balmy blue. So those are the colors that I'm going to be using. And then these are the pictures that I'm going to be documenting with that sketch. And it's Anna's, my daughter's, my third child, my first daughter, her 21st birthday from last year. So these are the photos that we're going to be using. And I wanted to showcase this picture of her and her roommates in a 5x7, which was her birthday dinner in Kalamazoo last year. And then we also went to one of their favorite places to hang out called Waldo's, and then we had dessert, and then Tom and I took her to a really fun pub that was just down the street from her apartment, her house that she was staying in. And these were the girls outside, and then they had a little cake for her that she sent me the picture later because we had already left and went home. And then this is her and Tom outside the pub. So anyway, these are the pictures that we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting these pieces, and then we will get back together and we will quickly assemble this. Okay, so this is what it looks like once I cut everything and got it all lined up. So we are going to work on the left side first, and then we're going to work on the right side. So I'm going to just lift this up, set this behind me, and pick this page up and move it into view. And it's actually comical if you could only see what the setup looks like right here in this hotel. You guys, it's hilarious, but you know, we're gonna go with it because I wanted to get this out and I feel so bad that I haven't posted something in almost 2 weeks, but between onstage and vacation, I've been a little busy and just didn't have the time. So here we are. We are going to do the left page, and look at how beautiful this piece from that kit looks. And I've added this little extra cluster in here to kind of hide the seam. You can't even see the seam that's right down here in the middle. So basically what I did, let me see if I can grab the pieces over here. So I took and there's only one of them left. So let me see if I can find it in here. Oh, where are you? I don't see it. Ah, here it is. Haha. I have another pile. I have all these piles in here, you guys. It's so comical. It truly is. Okay, let me find. Here it is. Haha. So this is the card base that I chose to work with, and it was perfect because according to the instructions, you need a 1.5 inch strip. So I cut 2 of them. So this whole piece together is 3 inches, and I cut it down the center at 1.5, and then it created a 1.5. So I cut this seam off, and that gave me these 2 pieces, and you can see them right there. Right? And then what's so amazing is that this top cluster fits, and there's 2 separate clusters. So I'm going to show those to you so that you can see this when you are looking at the carrier sheets. So here's the full carrier sheet. So this is one cluster and this is the second cluster. And what you want to see and pay attention to is see the ones that already have the greenery on here. That's the cluster that fits on this side, is the one that doesn't have greenery. And then you can see the greenery is built into this one right here. That goes for this opposite side that didn't have the extra greenery. So that's how I created this piece. I glued it together, and then I took an extra piece that's probably this cluster right here, and I added it right down the center right here. Let me see if I can lift this up ever so carefully so that you can see, and it's kind of stuck, but you can see this little piece. It's that same piece, and I just laid it right on top to cover up that seam, and you don't even see the seam because the daisies kind of cover that up perfectly. And then Anna, my daughter, is getting a French minor at K College, and this is congratulations in French, which I thought was so perfect for her. She's gonna love that I added that little detail to this. And then I created the 21st and the Anna's B-Day. And I used one of my favorite dies, the mini alphabet die. And then I also used the birthday celebrations photopolymer stamp set for this ST. But then, whoops, where is it? Here it is. Over here by my computer. Here is the banner die that I used to create this banner. I used the larger one to create the 21st. I used the smaller banner, and then I cut the 21 out of here. And then for the alphabet, I used this. And I'll have all those details down below in the comment section in the details for you, I promise, as well as the cardstocks that I used and everything else, including these DSPs because they are not from this kit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these things off, and we're going to start building this page. And I will probably speed this up so that you don't have to watch all of the small little details, but I'm going to pull these off right now. I've already gone ahead and attached this photo to the photo mat, and we will get moving. Before we continue with this really quick sketch, I just want to personally thank you all for commenting, liking, and following this channel. We did it. We hit 2,000 subscribers last week, and I was so thrilled. All I had to do was ask you guys. So if you haven't been on my channel before, if you are new to this channel, I would love it if you would click that subscribe button right down below. That's all you got to do. You'll get notifications when I share another sketch, and I would be honored if you would follow me along on this crafting journey. So let's get back to crafting. So I ran into some issues with my adhesive, so I am now using some tear tape to attach these banners onto the layout. So I'm going to move everything off to the side, and we will go ahead and tack down the white piece, and it is at the 1/2 inch mark at the top and the bottom, and I'm still using my tape runner right now until I can't, and you'll see that in just a few minutes. And then I'm going to tack down this piece of designer series paper, and I'm putting that at the 3-inch mark up at the top, and it'll line up at the bottom as well. And I love using my Versamat for this. I hope this is something that Stampin' Up! Comes out with, because it's such a critical tool for scrapbookers. And then I'm taking this stripe banner, and I'm attaching that about the 11.5, actually it was the 10 3/4 inch mark, and then I'm attaching the banner that I created with the kit, and that's just going directly above it, and it's kind of staggering. And then I'm taking the sentiment, and I'm kind of lifting it directly underneath the flowers so that it's kind of tucked under, and I'm kind of finagling this so that they overlap, and I realize that I want that first banner to overlap the second one, and I want to be able to see that dovetailed piece. So I'm just kind of working that through and getting that where I like it. And now I'm going to attach the balmy blue cardstock, and it's kind of between the 3, actually no, I think it's between the 1.5 inch mark and the 10.5 inch mark. And then I'm attaching the lighter green photo mat directly on there, kind of centering it. Struggling with the adhesive. It's so hard to travel with when you don't have all of your tools. So I'm really making the best out of the situation. And then I'm using dimensionals to pop up the 21st. And I'm gonna stick that over to the right-hand side on the photo. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start attaching the banner. And that's where I ran into some problems with my adhesive. So I'm really, truly just making the best out of this situation and removing the score tape that I already put on the back of these banners, and I'm just strategically placing them next to each other. And you'll see that you're gonna need to be careful as you're spelling out your word and the placement of where you put these on the page, just so that they line up the way you want them to. And feel free to go back and adjust them as needed, like you can see that I'm doing. It certainly isn't perfect, but guess what? Scrapbooking isn't perfect, and don't try to be perfect when you're crafting. It just gets you frustrated. And then you'll notice that I also took some of the extra embellishments that were left over from the kit, and I used that to separate the letters and the words a little bit. And I felt like that was a really great way to use some of those leftover pieces. And so you can see that I'm still adjusting things as needed here before I move on to the right page. And I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out, and I really love this banner and the options that you have for creating some really fun titles with it. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing how I did that. And then I'm just, again, turning it and kind of adjusting it as I need to, because it's kind of hard when you have a camera right in your face when you're trying to spell words out. So there we go. And I'm just, again, finagling because some things are just not lining up the way I want them to. And once I get those the way I want them, we're gonna move on to the right page. So I finally found the piece that I wanted to add to that little section to separate Anna's and B-Day. And then once I get that lined up, I'm just kind of fixing things a little bit more before I'm pleased with this left side, and we can move on to the right page. And I did end up needing to find some dimensionals to put onto the back of this, so I'm looking through my stash of adhesives to get some mini dimensionals so that I can pop that section right there in the middle. So I'm ready to now bring in the right page, and I'm just getting some of my pieces set up. And what I like to do is have the left page right next to the right page so that I can line up the bases first before I start attaching my pictures. So I'm just moving everything out of the way. I am going to be using score tape for the rest of this layout just because I ran into such a mess with my adhesive and I dropped it and it came apart and I just couldn't put it back together. So accidents happen, and you're seeing real world when I am putting together these sketches. It's nothing fancy, and I make tons of mistakes that I hope that you learn from along the way. So I'm lining this up exactly where I want it. Again, there is a 1/2 inch border at the top, on the right side, and on the bottom. The left is flush right up against the edge. And I'm just removing the adhesive off of this. I tore my paper a little bit. As you can see, it happens. Seriously, this was so comical, you guys. But I got through it and I got it done, and I'm really pleased with the finish layouts. I hope that you're as inspired as I was when I was creating this. I just fell in love with this card kit and thought it was just such a great kit to use for these pictures to celebrate my daughter's 21st birthday. So I've already gone ahead and taken the photos. These are 3x4s. I've already attached them to the base photo mats, which happen to be that beautiful lemon lime twist, I believe. No, it's not lemon lime twist. Sorry, you guys. It's soft seafoam. That's the cardstock color for these photo mats. So I'm just lining them up. And again, I'm having to adjust them a little bit, which is really challenging when you're using score tape because it is so sturdy and so strong. So word to the wise, unless you know exactly where you're going to place it, just be really cautious when you're using score tape. So I'm just getting that third picture set up and lined up exactly where I want it. There's about 1/4 inch space between each of the photos. And now that I know exactly how I want the rest of it lined up, I'm just moving the left page out of the way. And I noticed that my pictures weren't straight, and that just always bothers me. So I did go back and adjust them on my Versamat to make sure that they were straight before I added that center banner piece. And again, it's always a challenge when you have a camera in front of you. So now I'm taking that beautiful banner that I created with the kit, and I'm using score tape, and then I'm going to tuck it underneath those pictures that are on the left side. And it's around the 4-inch mark that I'm attaching the banner. And I love how those accents just kind of tuck in around the pictures and hug it. And it really is a great focal point when you're looking at the right page. And then you won't be able to see that seam because I'm going to take some of the extra pieces and kind of weave them in like I did on the left page. And then this is the banner piece from the designer series paper that I'm tucking under. And again, didn't have my take your pick tool so that I could lift up that adhesive. So I'm gently trying to use my scissors to lift that and get that placed where I want it. And now I'm going to show you how I created this hidden journaling spot by taking the dimensionals and just lining it up exactly where I wanted to. And I took some of the leftover dimensionals, which I tend to do from time to time. And now I'm taking one of the extra pieces from that card kit. I'm attaching it to my journaling. And do you see how it just slides in underneath all of those dimensionals? And I'm using the straight edge on the leftover pieces of my dimensionals. And then, of course, I got it stuck onto my other picture. Like, you can't make this stuff up, you guys. It is so comical. And then I had to remove all of this adhesive and get it off of the picture. And I didn't want you to see me struggling with that the whole time. So I did shorten that piece up. But I was able to get most of the adhesive off of this picture. it happens, right? Like, oh my gosh, I honestly make so many mistakes when I'm crafting, but there's always a solution. And especially when you're out of town and you don't have all of the tools that you want, I found a way to get that adhesive off of there by slowly removing it and pushing it with my finger. And I eventually do get the adhesive off that picture, and then I clean it all up. And now I'm ready to go ahead and attach both of the pictures as well as this hidden journaling. So again, it happens, right? Like, you just can't always plan for things to go perfectly when you're recording. So I appreciate your grace while you're watching me try and fumble around and get that all lined up. But I end up getting it cleaned up. I am now attaching that top photo so that I can slide in that journaling, and then we're going to attach that last picture, and pretty much the layout is done. I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. But then I noticed, once I got this picture on the very bottom, I noticed that that very bottom right quadrant just seemed really sparse. So I'm attaching one of those extra pieces from the card kit, and I'm using some dimensionals to pop that up so I can hide that seam, so you won't see that seam at all where the banner is. And I'm just trying to find the direction I want that beautiful little daisy cluster to fit. And you can see, you cannot see the seam, which I'm thrilled with. And so I've got both of the layouts here, and I'm like looking at it going, okay, I think that I'm pleased with the way it looks, but here is this little section that needs some more color and even some more accents. So I'm taking one of the leftover pieces, and this is the French saying of best wishes. And then I'm taking those really beautiful clusters and attaching them with mini dimensionals. And I love how they hug that oval shape on that piece. And it's just really the perfect way to finish up this layout and complete it and give it balance for both the right and the left page. So you can see that I'm using dimensionals, mini dimensionals, to pop those clusters up around each corner, curved corner of this. And you can even trim those dimensionals if you need to, because these pieces do hang over a little bit. So I found that just using regular adhesive wasn't enough. It really truly needed the height of the dimensional. So I'm going and trimming those up, which I love being able to do that. And there you have it. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. I'm going to show some close-ups of this so that you can see these clusters and how great they look. You can't see the seams. And I hope this inspired you. Thank you so much for being a part of my crafty journey and being a part of these Friday freebies. I can't thank you enough for supporting this channel. Have a great rest of your week, and happy crafting.